Welcome, welcome, welcome to another Spiritual Awakening with yours truly, Dr. H. Green Sr. Thank you so much for taking our time in your schedules to connect with us within our spiritual community. Tag, share, and text. Text, share, and tag. Let some folk know we're streaming live. We've got some good stuff that's going to empower them. Food for the spirit and for the soul. Tag, share, and text. Text, share, and tag. And again, I welcome you to another Spiritual Awakening. Yours truly, Dr. A.G. Green Sr. Thank you so much for those who are tagging, sharing, and texting. Just to remind you of what you're watching. And of course, we want to bring as many people into this conversation as we possibly can. Tag, share, and text, like, share many hearts. And if you have not already done it, make sure you subscribe to the various social media channels, the various ones that we have a presence on. That's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, and YouTube. Almighty, we're so thankful and grateful for this opportunity. Our spirits are open. Our hearts are open, revealed to us deep level truth that we can properly appropriate. Thank you, Lord, for the epiphany, for the revelation. Thank you for the enlightenment and the illumination. From that, we enter into the stages of transformation, transmutation, and eventually into manifestation. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, that the will, your highest will is done in us, with us, through us, as us. We're just so thankful and grateful for it now. It is so, and so it is. Thank you, Linda. See you. See you, see you, see you. Watching us within our Patreon community. Thank you so much. And blessings to you as well, Linda. And to everybody who's on tonight. Good evening, my Krista. And of course to our resident therapist, Pastor Jerry Cotton, good to see you on. Yes, sir. We're vibing with our tribe. Come on, type it in the comment section. We're vibing with our tribe, or let's vibe with our tribe. Let's do that. We'll type in the comment section. Let's vibe with our tribe. Let's vibe with our tribe. Type in the comment section. Let's vibe with our tribe. Yes, yes. This is the moment to vibe with our tribe. It's Revolution Inc. takeover. Even right now, wonderful and mighty things are happening in your life. Now to him that is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us. I am powerful. Come on, type it in the comment section and speak it out loud. I am powerful. Thank you for joining us on YouTube and, of course, within our spiritual community on Patreon. Come on, type it in the comment section. I am powerful. I am powerful. I am powerful. I am powerful. Come on, type that in the comment section. I am powerful. What a wonderful thing it is to own the power, know the power, not be ashamed of the power, accept the power, flow in the power, and allow the power to express itself demonstratively, judiciously, and constructively through you. That's it. I am powerful. What a wonderful, 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 wonderful thing it is, family, to know I am powerful. It doesn't make you arrogant. It makes you aware. And it is in the space of thankfulness and grace that we wield the power that the Creator has allowed us to possess. Thankful and grateful to see all of you all on tonight. All right, family, let's get into it. What's Good. What's good? What's good? Tell me how your week has been going thus far. What's good? What's good, family? How has your week been going thus far? Talk back to me how your week has been going thus far. And as you're preparing to do that, just put up a couple of things on the screen for you. Revolution Inc. is 50% off for the first month. Just use REV50. That's REV50 as a discount code, and you will get 50% off the first month. You had 2 tiers to choose from. And within our community, this is a powerful, growing spiritual community. We are releasing high level teaching here. We discover ancient spiritual wisdom. It's a community of like minded people. We have weekly inspiration. And as you all see, daily posts, multiple videos put up in a week, free resources available, and more and more and more to come as we continue to grow and expand. So make sure, if you have not already done so, that you join us at the paid tiers, because there's information we're only releasing for paid tiers. And right now we're temporarily allowing people to see Spiritual Awakening and, of course, Revolution Sundays for free. But eventually that's all going to be behind the paid tiers, or for the paid tiers. Reminding you, the Divine You podcast is up, and a new episode is going to be released tomorrow. Please forgive me for the delay, but I will have one up for you sometime tomorrow between 10 a.m. and 12 noon. A new podcast will be up. So we want you to make sure that you tune in and also share that link with as many friends as possible. All right, come on now, family. Tell me what's good. Linda beat y'all to it. She is on Patreon, and Linda's response to the question was, "My week is going great. Awesomeness." Linda, thank you for sharing that. Somebody else tell me, how has your week been going thus far? Remember, there's no judgment here. There's no judgment here. However you feel your week is going is your interpretation of your own life, and we respect that. Let's see here. Week has been powerful and peaceful. I've had Sunday's message on repeat. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sudden shifts. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else? That's our resident therapist. Want to tell us how your week has been going thus far, real quickly. Let's see here. Hillary says, amazing. Thank you so much. Anybody else? How's your week been going thus far? How's your week been going thus far? Talk to me real quickly. How has your week been going thus far? Okay. Krista says, great week. Don't complain. Looking forward to fall break. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I thank y'all for sharing with me in the moment how your week has been going thus far. How your week has been going thus far. And let me ask you real quickly, how are your thoughts? From time to time, I like to do a check-in, because on this platform, we recognize that your thoughts and your core beliefs determine your reality, what you think and what you imagine, and of course, ultimately what you speak. But we speak based on what we imagine and what we think. How are your thoughts? How are your thoughts? We all always like to do a check-in. This is a kind of a metacognition check of sorts. If you've been monitoring your thoughts, which you should, if you've been paying attention to your thoughts, which you should, you ought to be able to give us an answer. Tell us how your thoughts are right now, and there is no judgment zone here. Again, just tell us how you've been doing with your thoughts. How are your thoughts? How are your thoughts? Mine have been uh growing in consistency, growing in consistency in terms of the kind of thoughts I choose and the kind of thoughts I want to dominate mentally, and of course, ultimately, my state of consciousness. That's my report on my thoughts. Let's see here. All right. He says thoughts have been steady. Thoughts have been steady, focusing on staying inspired. Wonderful. Anybody else? How are your thoughts? How are your thoughts? How are your thoughts? And if by chance there are people here struggling with their thoughts, it's all right. This community uh, is devoted to helping you to evolve, transform, and ascend. And that means that we spend a lot of time discussing the psycho-spiritual. We spend a lot of time discussing the psyche, discussing the mind, and not just discussing it, but giving you pointers and instructions on how to manage that. All right. Hillary says good. Very good. Very good. Anybody else want to share? How are your thoughts? How are your thoughts? Real quickly. And then we're going to move on to a couple of other things I want to share with you. We are going to pick up, and our resident therapist is going to tell us what part in the series we're on. We're discussing conscious creation, but we've been discussing the 4 pillars of conscious creation. And I'm going to finish number 3 on tonight. Okay. Thank those who shared how your thoughts have been going thus far. Okay. And we want to continue to understand how powerful our thoughts are. Okay. Let's see. She says, my thoughts have been good, focusing on things to be grateful for. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful reports as it relates to thoughts. Now, let me talk to you about Isn't It Wonderful real quickly. Who has been saying, isn't it wonderful? And who has seen results from saying, isn't it wonderful? I think this was, if it wasn't last Tuesday, it was a Sunday before that last Tuesday. I shared the isn't it wonderful phrase with you. It actually is something that was initiated in the 40s or 50s by the great mystic Neville Goddard. And while I was teaching, it just spontaneously came up in my heart. It spontaneously came up in my mind to share it with you. I felt the inspiration. It was divine. It was a spiritual thing to speak that to you and have you to speak it. And I'm telling you now, even I myself, and I've used that powerful, creative, manifesting, phrase many times. It really creates a state of consciousness and a state of awareness within us that multiplies manifestation. Really, really, it does. And I was inspired to just release that. And I'm hearing some good things. Let's see. She says, I've been seeing it and getting great results. Wonderful. And again, I can personally testify. If nothing else, it helps your state of mind, your emotional state. It helps you stabilize your thoughts. But a step above that, of course, is it puts you in a state that places you in more intense alignment with God, the creator, source, sustainer, and this very conscious universe. And things just happen from that state of awe and wonder. Awe, wonder, and gratitude. Things just happen. And I can honestly say from inner transformation to financial manifestation, I can testify to that. And there are a couple of other people on here besides Hillary. I'm going to say this. And I like for people to tell their own testimonies. But what I've been told is, let's see what our resident therapist says. He said, I've been seeing synchronicities. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I can tell you now from what I've been told, almost $1,000 of money has been generated, actually over $1,000 of money. And I've also been told that the manifestation of a job opportunities have happened from people who have been using the phrase, isn't it wonderful? Feeling it, knowing it. Oh my goodness, I feel it now while I'm talking. And let me say this. Neville says that phrase is also great when you can't quite pinpoint what you need to manifest, meaning there's a list of things or multiple things. You can't pinpoint which one you want to start with. It covers, it's a broad covering, just entering that state and remaining in that state. So this is also the phrase he would share with people who were trying to manifest multiple things at one time. So you can use it for something specific or something wonderful. But again, something, specific or a multiplicity of things. But more importantly, you don't have to have anything in mind. Just speak it. Isn't it wonderful before you go to bed? Just speak when you wake up in the morning. Isn't it wonderful? Throughout your day, genuinely from the heart. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful? Something might happen to you and you say, isn't it wonderful? I want you to type in the comment section right now. Isn't it wonderful? Type that in the comment section right now. Isn't it wonderful? Type that in the comment section right now. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful? Let's see if anybody on Patreon has said anything. Okay, nobody's commenting there. Just type in the comment section. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful? Oh, yes. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful? Because it absolutely, positively is wonderful. Isn't it wonderful? And Linda is on Patreon and she's typing as well. Isn't it wonderful? Because it most certainly is. All right, let's see where we at here. Our resident therapist put that number, the series installment. He typed it in. Let me see if I can find it and put it up so everybody can see it. Here we go. Part 4, Conscious Creator. Part 4, Conscious Creator. I have given you, again, some scriptures as references, not just from the Bible, but I've also given you scriptures from other ancient books that assert the claim that we are conscious creators. We are conscious creators. We're going to repeat some of the text on purposely, because repetition is the hallmark of good teaching. And so what I'm going to ask my assistants to do is put up Proverbs 23:7, Mark 11:24. I'm going to give you time to make this list. Proverbs 23:7, Mark 11:24, Hebrews 11:1, Romans 4:17, Matthew 9:29. Say it one more time. Proverbs 23:7, Mark 11:24, Hebrews 11:1, Romans 4:17, Matthew 9:29. And what I'm going to do is put up some texts from other scriptures, ancient scriptures, and while they're looking for those scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita 6:5. This is Hindu's book. Let a man lift himself by his own self alone, for this self alone is his friend, and this self alone is his enemy. So this has the potential. You have the potential, again, family, to be your friend or your enemy. And guess what? It is based on what you believe. Plain and simple. It is based on what you believe. They're looking for the biblical text. Let's see. I'm going to put up another text real quickly. Another ancient text. I've done it before, but I'd like to show you the symmetry that exists. The Upanishad 3141-.1, as a man thinks, so he becomes. As a man thinks, so he becomes, which is very timely because the NIV says, for he is the kind of person who is always thinking about the cause. Eat and drink, for he says to you, but his heart is not with you. For he's the kind of person always thinking about the cause. The King James Version is already up, which says to us, for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. I just read the NIV of the same one. You see the difference in how it's presented? For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. That's what we want, the first part. You are a manifestation. You are manifesting what you think right now. Let's say it again. You are manifesting what you think right now. Let's see. That's why we are always monitoring our thoughts. Mark 11:24, therefore I say unto you, what things soever you desire when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, Let's see if she's able to put up the latter part of that. Oh, okay. It's not showing up on the screen, but believe that ye receive them and ye shall have them. That's kind of weird. Oh, yes, it is. It's on the screen. But things soever you desire when you pray, believe that ye receive them and ye shall have them. This is all conscious creation, family. He's not, Yeshua is talking here. He's not telling people to beg him. Even in this text, he's not saying, use my name. He's saying, if you believe in prayer, you're going to receive it. NIV. Therefore, I tell you, what you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it. Past tense. I already have it. And it will be yours. Conscious creation. Again, the proof of conscious creation. All right. Let's see here. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. We've exegeted this text before. Now, faith is the confidence in what we hope for and the assurance of what we do not see. So again, family, faith is an intrinsic inner thing. It exists in the heart and in the mind. We are spiritual beings, all spiritual beings, created and manifest by faith, period. And as I've shared with you before, faith has been taught in light of manifesting good things only by the religious communities. No, faith can manifest even your nightmares, even your fears manifest because of faith. And thank you, Andy, for sharing the Gospel of Thomas, verse 77. Thank you so much. A lot of people don't indulge in reading the apocryphal books. Let me put up what she wrote up, put up what she wrote. And the Gospel of Thomas is a very metaphysical book. The kingdom of heaven is within you and all around you. Split a piece of wood and you will find me. Lift a stone and I will be there. Again, the extensive presence of the Creator in everything, including us. Let's see here. I put up Romans 4:17 because from a theological perspective, traditional Christianity thinks that this is the God that's in heaven. No, this is the God that's in you. This is a God that is one with you. Romans 4:17, I have made thee a father of many nations. This is supposed to be referring to Abraham, before him who believed, even God. Watch this. Now, what is pertaining to God in the text pertains to us who are one with God. It says, God who quickeneth the dead and calleth those things that be not as though they were. As though they were, excuse me. This is the follow-up, as though they were. Do it again. I don't want to confuse anybody. As though they were. The God in you, the God that's one with us, that same power is exercised and utilized today. Let's see, Romans 4:17, as it is written, I've made you a father of many nations. He is our father in the sight of God, in whom we believe, the God who gives life to the dead and calls into being things that were not. Again, this God is a part of you and one with you. You as a spirit being are already one, always one with God. You have access to this power and this authority. Yeshua is serving blind men, ministering to blind men in Matthew 9:29, then touched he their eyes, saying, according to your faith, be it unto you. You love the Message translation that says, become what you believe. Here's the NIV. Then he touched their eyes and said, according to your faith, let it be done to you. All of this, family, is conscious creation. I'm going to say it again. All of this, family, is conscious creation, which is the subject that I'm discussing with you. Now, again, I put up a text from the Bhagavad Gita, which is in alignment with what we've been showing you in the biblical text. Even the Gospel of Thomas that's put up. It says, whatever is firmly fixed in the mind becomes the nature of the man. I wanted to put this up last, and there's numerous other texts that I have in my notes that I could put up on the screen right now, from the Buddhist texts, from Islam, from the Hermetic texts, like as above, so below, as within, so without, which is another powerful text that confirms that that kingdom is within us, as the Bible would say, and we manifest from within. The without or the external comes from within. But the reason I put the Bhagavad Gita text up here is because I want people to understand that when you are exercising affirmations, or when you are seeking to expand and grow your awareness, this is about identity. I've shared that with you before. I'm working on a blog series now about identity, purpose, and manifestation. As we speak, I'm working on that. It'll probably be released later in the year. Now, what the Bhagavad Gita is saying here is it becomes your nature. Hear me, hear me. You by nature are a divine spiritual being. I believe of a God class. That is your nature. You are not merely mortal. You are not merely flesh. That's an extension, or that is the manifestation of the holographic you, the manifestation of the spiritual you. You are really a spirit who possesses a soul and lives in a body. But what I want you to understand is the very real you is spirit. Some call it the spiritual man, some call it spirit, some call it the astral self, some call it the God self. Whatever you call it, it's you. And what I want you to understand, that affirmations and processes are supposed to help you to remember who you really are. I just said that. Did you catch that? These things are designed to help you to remember who you are. The things that I teach about, like tonight, conscious creation, being a conscious creator, is to remind you of your nature, remind you of who you really are. You are powerful. Listen, regardless of what your physical shell looks like, regardless of what your earth body looks like, regardless of what your simulation body looks like, regardless of what your earth suit looks like, the real you is spirit that is not bound by the trappings of the space-time continuum, and neither does it answer to it unless you in your thinking become a slave to it, which means that you willingly give your power or use your power to become a slave to the physical things, to the natural things, to what some call the simulation, what some call the matrix. Am I making any sense to anybody? I hope I'm getting some likes and hearts here. So I want you to realize, I want you to remember. I want you to remember. You hear spiritual and metaphysical teachers, and many of them are articulating wonderful information, but it always works better. It always works better when you identify it with your identity, and your identity is associated with your true nature. Did I make sense with what I just said with that? Type yes or no in the comment section. I want to make sure that I'm making sense with what I just said to you. So teachers realize and understand, and I'm waiting on your responses. They realize and understand, leadership, spiritual leaders realize and understand the disconnect that exists. We're conditioned to feel disconnected from the source. We're conditioned to feel disconnected from God. Listen to this. We're conditioned to think we have to work to earn favor, and work to earn spirituality, and work to earn access to power. That's what religion teaches. And if you don't comply with a set of rules, you are powerless or ineligible for being empowered, which is really what the blessing is: empowered to prosper, empowered to have favor. This is what is taught. And this is why I've showed you from science to philosophy to psychology, they're all in concert somehow, some way, asserting to me what I believe to be a powerful thesis that says we are powerful, and we are impacting from the spiritual and from the mental, the three-dimensional, and we are creating and manifesting our reality based on our thoughts, based on our beliefs. So what I want you to understand is these things are designed, I feel it while I'm talking. These things are designed, these teachings are designed, again, to help you remember who you are and what your very nature is as a divine being. Now, catch this again. I myself got in on the phrase, I myself got in on these blessings. Just using the phrase, isn't it wonderful? Not only did it elevate my consciousness, not only did it elevate my mood, not only did it at times stabilize my mood, not only did it at times impact my perception, but it also brought me a little money. It also opened some doors of opportunity for me, as well as the others who are on here and some who are not on tonight. We did not beg, we did not slave, we did not fall out, we did not scream, we did not holler. Hear what I'm saying today. We did not call on any particular name. I want you to catch that. But yet, great things manifested for us. Why is that? Because you're powerful and you have tapped in to your identity. You have tapped in to your true nature. You have tapped in to your real spiritual self. My goodness. That's why it works. And it will work, as we say, 24/7, 365 days of the year. So this to me is important in terms of conscious creation. It's very important because I want you to understand that once you take on your true identity, family, once you take on you access your real nature, catch what I'm getting ready to say today. I'm getting ready to say something that's powerful. You won't need affirmations. You will always do meditations to maintain the connection. You will always do visualizations to maintain the connection. But these things that you are doing now to try and make something happen, to try, excuse me, I'm going to paraphrase that, to induce something to happen will happen automatically, family, because you, as the identity of being, or you by choice, to have chosen to access your real identity, and you are just it. Hear me. Hear what I'm getting ready to say today about identity. A bird does not have to consciously think, I can fly, to fly. It just flies. Within its very nature is the ability to fly. Its physical construction, from bones to flesh, to the configuration of wings, to the size of its head and the size of its claws. It's all designed anatomically in mind as a part of the nature of a bird. And a bird can fly. Why? Because it's within its nature to fly. It doesn't need affirmations to fly. It doesn't need permission to fly. It doesn't need to beg the creator to fly. It can just fly. It thinks, when I say it thinks flight, basically whatever it is it thinks to make it use its wings to move, to be mobile, is what it does. You don't have to convince a lion to roar. You don't have to convince a dog to bark. A dog does not have to say, I want to bark. Or a dog does not have to say, I want to sniff. Or a dog does not have to say, I want agility. Or a dog does not have to say, I want to run fast. It does not have to use an affirmation to do anything. It thinks it. You know why? Because within its anatomical design, from its brain function all the way to the skeletal system, and of course, muscle, so forth and so on, is designed to do the things that I just declared. That's who it is. I'm going to say it again. That's who it is. A cheetah does not have to talk itself into running 60 miles per hour, peak speed to chase its prey. It doesn't have to do that. Its little head and its aerodynamic body is designed to run up to speeds of 60 miles per hour. It is literally the weaker of the cats, the smaller, not the smallest, but the smaller of the cats in the jungle, but it's designed to run its prey down. Hear me. It does not need to meditate to do that. It just is that within its very nature. So it is acting out its nature. I'm going to say it again. It is acting out its nature. It is demonstrating its nature. What we are dealing with as a spiritual species, we're not acting out consistently our spiritual nature. I'm going to paraphrase that. We're acting out consistently our spiritual natures. I corrected that. But we're acting it out through the conditioning of the mind, through the poor conditioning of the persona, through the poor conditioning of the ego. Not from pure consciousness, not from you purely as a spirit, but it's being dumbed down, it's being reduced, it's being sabotaged, it's being held hostage by the natural mind, what we call the natural mind, by the brain itself. Because the real you is not limited. The real you is spirit. The real you is not limited by this body, but the physical you has physical restraints. But we can even come those physical restraints by changing or reframing our beliefs. So we are acting out a lower nature, not a higher nature. Oh my goodness, I just said a word. Our species consistently acts out its lower nature, not a higher nature. I'm going to say it again. Our species consistently acts out or demonstrates its lower base nature, not a higher nature. And let me tell you something. Your lower base nature loves to do things the linear way. I'm going to say it again. Your lower based nature loves to do things the linear way. Did you catch that? Did you catch that? It believes you got to sweat to get every dime you make. It has convinced you that it's hard to come by money. So you got to have a certain paying job or you got to trade time for money. Catch what I'm saying today. Catch what I'm saying today. That's a linear perspective. And so people are acting out of the physical side of their nature, not the spiritual side of their nature. I'm talking about to with intention create a world that they live in, create their own world that produces the kind of results they desire consistently. Because you've been conditioned from a linear perspective. I'm going to say from an analog, it's like comparing analog to digital. You've been convinced to access your lower self, to believe that your lower self is really reality. People say things like seeing is believing. What's incredible to me is that you don't have to have eyes to see. Ask blind folks. I know a few. They see without their eyes. When you come out of this physical body or have out of body experiences, if you're blind, you can still see. If you have sight in the natural, you can still see outside of your body. This is how powerful you are. But if you're conditioned to believe that it has to be this way, and this is the only way, this is how we develop and define how a relationship is going to be with the spirit, how a relationship is going to be with the physical plane, how a relationship is going to be with money, with career, with love, with health, in platonic relationships, with career. I can go on and on and on and on. A mindset is conditioned to believe and then create what it believes. My goodness. My goodness. Am I making sense today, family? Am I making sense today? So this is why I'm saying to you now, you've got to name the identity. I want you to type it in the comment section. I must name my identity. I must name my identity. I must name my identity. Mhm. I must name my identity. You got to name it. That's number one. You got to name it. I'm going to give you a few steps tonight. I must name my identity. Too many people are walking around here and just taking on the identity of an undisciplined mind, of undisciplined thought processes. Okay, I take on the identity of being the person who is confused. I'm happy one minute, I'm sad the next minute. I'm believing in being elevated one minute, the next minute I believe that I don't or should not be elevated. I believe in the potential of my abilities, but then the next breath I challenge the potential of my abilities. There's a cognitive dissonance that exists. And this is the state, family, of consciousness that they live in. It's a belief. It's a belief, watch this, in aligning with thoughts or moods that don't bring them the best outcomes, but they don't challenge them. Hear me. There are a myriad of reasons why people have arrived to this undisciplined or this chameleon type identity structure or a chameleon type identity selection in going from thought to thought or emotion to emotion or feeling to feeling and embracing that in the moment and accepting that. And then watch this. Now, the core belief is not committed to discipline, it's committed to undiscipline, allowing your mind to latch on or extract or collect thoughts and emotions and feelings, even the ones that are counterproductive, and just being in the moment. Then you're manifesting these confused results. You're manifesting these unstable things in your reality. You're manifesting highs and lows consistently. You get in a situation, hear me, where you just had a high, but then through self-sabotage, you believe that a low is coming or you deserve a low. So then you flow with the core belief of a low, and flowing with low thoughts and lower self is eventually going to reflect back into your world as something you don't want to happen or something you don't. And hear me, a lot of times people don't realize they're doing this until it's brought to their attention. Wow, I feel that, family. I feel that. I feel that. Yes, our highs and lows are programmed within us. Did I just say a word or not? I'm going to say it again. Our highs and lows are programmed within us. Now let me say this. Let me say this. And let me make sure I give proper credence to that statement. I'm talking about from the intellectual um, flow of thoughts standpoint, because I will say this: within the brain itself is a chemistry, a brain chemistry, and there are all kinds of chemicals at work. Dopamine is one of those chemicals. Serotonin is another, and on and on and on. And yes, there are some things that can happen to your blood pressure, for example, to cause it to drop it or alter your mood. Pain can alter your mood. That can alter your mood. And it's altering your mood first, maybe with a trigger of pain, and then an interpretation of thought. So I want to give leeway and grace to help you to understand, yes, that there are circumstances within your physiology that can shift, that will affect your thoughts and your mood. But I also want to share with you that even in that moment, you get to choose. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So I ask you to select your identity, to name your identity. And the reason why I ask you to name your identity is because assumption is the inner conviction. Whatever this identity is you assume is your inner conviction. It's the inner conviction that your desire is already fact. It is not stubborn denial, but steadfast orientation, returning again and again to the chosen state. So you decide who you are. Name your identity. I'm a let me see. I am a global iconic spiritual leader and entrepreneur making millions of dollars and inspiring billions of people. This is like a identity statement for me. Who are you? Who are you? What is your identity? I also am associated with the identity of love. All I want to exude on this planet while I'm here is love. In my actions, in the way that I treat people that I love, in the way that I interact with strangers. I want to manifest love, which to me is the highest energy, the highest power, the purest power that one can possess and share and transmit in the world. So you've got to ask yourself some very, very direct questions. Who do you want to be? How does a person with your identity act? How does a person with the identity that you name yourself to be or name yourself as, how do they conduct themselves? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Am I making any sense to anybody? See, see, let me tell you, when I decided, I know I just said a mouthful about love. I made a conscious choice years back when I was dealing with some things that had me bitter and had me in a state of frustration and regret. I allowed it to have me in a state of frustration and regret, and it was how people were treating me and dealing with me. I needed to make a decision no matter what to just love. Mm-mm-mm. To just love. Hear what I'm saying today. Even when people don't treat me right, I'm just going to love you. I don't have to like it. I don't necessarily have to take it laying down, or lying down, but I'm going to love you. If you don't want to be around me, I might not like that, but I'm just going to love you anyway. If you go away lying and saying certain things, yes, I'm going to have a problem with your lying, but it's not going to stop me from loving. It was a conscious choice. And I had to work on that. I had to continue to speak that to myself. But check this out. Your real nature is love. Did you hear what I said? I'm going to say it again. Your real nature is love. I want you to type it in the comment section. My real nature is love. Type that in the comment section for me. Let me look at my time. We're almost out of time. My real nature is love. That's my real nature. It's love. You're a light being who loves. You have to be conditioned to hate. You have to be conditioned to be bitter. You have to be conditioned to not believe in other people because your real nature is love. All divine beings, their real nature is love. That's why when we say God is love, we're not just talking God as being love. Everything that's created sentient in a sentient perspective, most definitely from those who are of a higher class and higher order, it's love. Real nature is love. Never allow anybody to take you out of your identity. Never allow anybody, and when I say take you out, you know us. We discuss it. Nobody can really take you out, but you can interpret their actions in such a way that is inconsistent with the identity, the true identity that you are, and start acting differently. Start doing. That's what I mean when I say that. Do not allow people's actions to cause you to second guess who you are. Do not allow people's actions to cause you to second guess your true identity and your true nature. Do not allow people's harsh words or the unbelief in you or the criticisms of you move you from your true identity, from who and what you really are. And let me say this to people who by nature are gentle and loving, but find yourself being edgy, mean, and all these other kinds of things. You are not operating in your God self. You're not operating in your higher self, and you're not operating in your true nature. And you have allowed things to enter into your mind, interpreted them as pain because of other people's foolishness and the way they're acting, and you have internalized it in such a way that now it has formed in your persona, which is now impacting the ability for your nature as love to flow through the persona into the physical or into this construct. You can't allow somebody else's actions to move you from your identity. If you do that, you're not really you. I'm going to say it again. If you do that, you are not really you. I know I just said, as they used to say when I was growing up, a mouthful. So in terms of identity, and there are different kinds of identities, and in the blog, I kind of talk about surface identity. I talk about different forms of identity. I'm not going to get into them today. But I want you to understand that an identity statement is always attached to an I am. Now, as an identity, you're not just one thing, you're multiple things. You're multiple things. So I am love, I am abundance. Watch this. Others might say, I am a great husband, I am a great wife, I am an entrepreneur, I am a spiritual leader, I am a counselor. I am on the right side of I am, and of course, in the English language, we move from left to right, is an identity or is an identifier of who and what you are, who and what you answer to. So you have to ask yourself the question based on what you know about yourself and based on what's constantly unraveling and revealing itself before you, who am I? Who am I really? What are my traits? What are my talents? What are my abilities? It always begins with that. Secondly, once you decide who you are, then you should pick out models. You don't have to know these people personally. Yeshua is an exceptional model. Buddha is an exceptional model. We can go on with models, ancient models who still live in the present with us, but also present models. You should not do anything without identifying what you want your I am to look like. And one of the ways we determine what we want our I am to be in terms of self is the qualities that align in us with the qualities we see in other people, or the aspirations and desires that are within us. And we see the fulfillment of those aspirations and desires in other people. This is why they always talk about the power of mentorship. Mentorship is powerful. There's a whole lot of exchanges that take place, but more importantly for the mentee, it is extracting energy, it is extracting lessons, it is extracting powerful principles that the mentee extracts from the mentor, that they incorporate into their being, watch this, and then create their own definition of I am. And that I am that they decide to be is based on the traits that they know are in alignment with what they might believe to be their assignment or what they believe to be their personality. Am I making any sense to anybody? There are a lot of great people. Growing up, my father, I considered him to be great. I've got uncles, I considered them to be great. Okay, there are other people I've met along the way in business and other sectors. I consider them to be great. Other people I've never met personally, I consider them to be great. And I have studied and researched them. Watch this. Hear what I'm saying today. And taken on the identity my own, made it my own flavor, but extracted those things that were in alignment with my vision and goals of I am who I am. And I have benefited greatly from that. Everything from being a spiritual leader, a teacher, a preacher, an orator, a researcher. Hear what I'm saying today. A leader, a father, a husband. I have models for all those. So I am, watch this. If I am, excuse me, I shouldn't say if, I am a great father, I am a wonderful father, I am a focused father, I am an attentive father, hear me, as I form the thoughts, then I get to look over the landscape of life and see who is a great example of that which I am becoming, I am defining, I am desiring. And then I research and study them, or I have conversations with them. And then I incorporate what appeals to me. I incorporate what makes me better. I incorporate what challenges me. Are you hearing what I'm saying today? I've done this with people from afar. I've done this with people close up. And let me tell you why this is important. Again, if you don't choose an identity, you will form an identity based on instability, or you will form an identity based on the wrong concepts, based on the wrong definitions, based on the wrong examples, based on the wrong philosophies, based on the wrong beliefs. Hear me, family. Am I making any sense to anybody today? Talk back to me. Am I making any sense to anybody today? So the beauty of social media and the beauty of books is that you can see people you've never met and find out a slew of things about them and take notes. And then as you are defining your I am, you realize there's some qualities in that person that align with my definition of I am. Now I got to incorporate this. Watch this. I am an entrepreneur. I got to check out Warren Buffett. I got to check out the late Stephen Jobs, who, I have great affinity for him. I got Bill Gates, even people within the African-American community, Johnson, and so forth and so on. You got to look at these people. What are they doing? And then even people that might have small businesses, mid-sized businesses, who've done it consistently. Hear what I'm saying today. What worked for them and what did not work for them. And I'm going to say this again, and I'm going to be done. I'm going to move on to the next thing. Let me look at my time. I'm really out of time. If you don't have proper models to help you create the definition of I am, then you're going to manifest an incomplete model of I am. I'm going to say it again differently. If your example is not a good example, then your identity is going to be formed around that poor example. So I'll give you an example. The man or woman who is abusive, hear what I'm saying today. Their I am as it relates to relationships is I am an abuser. Many times they became an abuser. They weren't born an abuser. They didn't come out of their mother's womb as an abuser. Hear me. But they watched another abuser, took notes, and decided, when I get in this situation or that situation, that's how I'm going to handle a man. That's how I'm going to handle a woman. And sometimes they've watched their own father, or sometimes they watched their uncle or aunt that they admire, or sometimes they patted themselves after a friend they admired. They assume, watch this, through I am as a spiritual being, because again, I should share this with you. I am is whatever you believe it to be. I am is whatever you decide it to be. It is, again, in quantum physics, like that wave in superposition that has infinite potential until you give it an intention. I am the great I am, and then the creation of I am for us as individualized aspects of the creator, individualized aspects of God, is defined. by what we have accepted into our knowledge base and into our beliefs. Lord, help me. Am I talking good today? Am I talking good today? Find you a good model. Don't start a business without finding you a good model. And I said a good model, not just any model. Find you a good model. Pattern, find the things in them that's in alignment with who and what you believe you are assigned to be, and then start implementing those things. Find you a model spiritually, a spiritual model that helps to form your identity. People should never get married without having a good model of the kind of husband or wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is they desire to be. I'm talking about good, not this crazy, outlandish stuff that's going to just sabotage and destroy things. No, find you models who are decent, who are great at what they do. They don't always have to have the same morals. For example, as long as it relates to entrepreneurialism. Now, as long as they're not shysters, you don't want to extract the principles of being a shyster or shady from a shyster. That's not what I'm talking about. But if they're good with their books, if they're innovative, if they're cutting edge, if they're constantly educating themselves or educating their workforce or offering certain benefits to increase productivity, so forth. I'm talking about things like that help them to become a household name. You want to adopt some of those principles to help you curate, to help you paint, to help you come to the conclusion of I am. Let me give you a few more. Let's see here. So, if you want to thrive in health and purpose, you never use I want. Always, I am thriving at health and purpose. Okay? If you want to expand your IQ, you don't say, well, I'm growing my IQ, I'm expanding my IQ. No, I am a high level, have a high level IQ, or I have an high level IQ, or I am a person with a high level IQ. These are identity statements. I mentioned number 2 before is micro revisions. Let's see. Let me put that in the comment section. Did I put identity statements in there? I want my assistants to help me, and I'm going to be done. Give me 5 more minutes. Type micro/revisions for me in the comment section. Micro/revisions for me in the comment section. My assistants or whoever. Micro/revision. Revisions with an S. Type that in the comment section for me. Micro revisions are about how we deal with contradictions. So how do we deal with contradictions? When contradictions come up in our lives, we use micro revisions to speak what it is we have revised, or to speak our revisions, to think our revisions, to enact our revisions, to share our revisions. Let me see who put it up for me. Okay. Micro revisions. Actually, we want that like that. Micro revisions. There we go. Dash. I'm sorry. If I said slash, I'm sorry. I meant a dash. Micro revisions. What's a good micro revision? You're looking at your finances. You're considering your finances, and you're saying that you desire, in terms of I am abundance, to have more than enough. Well, if it looks in your checking account like you cannot pay your bills for this month, if it looks like in your checking account you're going to be behind again, you have to use micro revisions. Watch this. Remember what I told you on Sunday. Who remember what I said on Sunday about circumstances? Who remember what I said on Sunday about circumstances? Then we have a powerful gathering here on Sunday. Who remember what I said about circumstances on Sunday? Talk to me, family, real quickly. What did I say? about circumstances on Sunday? Tell me what I said real quickly because we're about out of time. I'm over time now. I'm trying to get you, I'm trying to get done. Thank you, sir. Circumstances don't matter. Don't y'all get me fired up again. Don't allow the presence to move me again, move my emotions. They don't matter. So when you're looking at the checking account, family, hear me. Access the kingdom within you, access the power and ability within you, access your real nature within you, and say, I am so thankful and grateful that I have more than enough to pay for all of my bills this month. Well, your checking account balance was set $100, and you know you got $1,000 worth of bills. You know you got $500 worth of bills coming. Since circumstances don't matter, and since I am abundance, I am always completely supplied with my needs and desires. The micro revision looks at the amount and does not agree with the amount because that's not who I am anymore. I am not somebody who looks at a number and defines myself by it. I'm going to say it again. I am not somebody who looks at a number or looks at a circumstance that's contrary to what I am and align with it. I am not doing it. I'm not doing it. Two illustrations. Yeshua said, if you say to the mountain, be thou removed and be thou cast into the sea, and you don't doubt in your heart and you believe what you say, you have what you say. Secondly, I love the illustration of Yeshua with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Whether people think it's real or not, it doesn't make a difference. In metaphysics, it tells us that we as spirit beings have the ability to superimpose our authority and power over the physical and make what looks like it's less in the physical to multiply into overflow, to multiply into provision, you know why? Because when a spirit being that knows its nature, when a spirit being knows who and what it is and who and what it's one with, circumstances don't matter. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So many people that worked themselves up. I love to go back in history and talk about our ancestors who were slaves. Frederick Douglass, that's just a slew of them. And then after slavery, W.B. Du Bois. It's just so many of them I could name. Even back in slavery, Nat Turner, we can, Sojourner Truth. It's just a whole lot of people we can name. You know why we read about them? You know why we admire them? You know why we have such a great affinity for them? Because they didn't allow the circumstances to matter. They believed, whether in slavery or Jim Crowism or under any form of oppression, that there I am said, I am valuable, I am worthy, I am great, I am exceptional, I am excellent. Hear what I'm saying today? I am anointed, I am powerful, I am gifted. Hear me, I am an inventor, I am a lawyer, I am a doctor, I am a teacher. And they said it during times where society says you're not. When you and I decide circumstances don't matter, we will use these micro revisions. I use them consistently. You got to be consistent with it. And if you use it consistently, family, it will reprogram your heart and your mind, family. It will reprogram it. And before you know it, you will have accessed your true nature and start redefining it naturally and organically and seeing it reflect back to you through the form of money showing up, through the form of opportunities being presented. Hear what I'm saying today? Which leads to number 3. We're applying this now. Number 3 is gather inner evidence. Gather inner evidence. So type that in the comment section. Gather inner evidence. Gather inner evidence. Real quickly, type that in the comment section. One of my assistants. Gather inner evidence. What does that mean? Take note of synchronicities. Pay attention to subtle confirmations. Also, take note of when there's inner peace as a proof of state. When you're in a situation where the natural senses say that you're supposed to be excited, performing histrionics or whatever, nervous, and you're not nervous, but you have peace, that is a sign that your real nature is exerting itself. Your real divinity is on display now. That's not even considering the natural circumstances, because it knows that greater is he that's in us than he that's in the world. It knows that you are one with God. It knows that the kingdom is within you and you already have accessed the solution. That's why it's not turning, somersaults in your stomach. That's why you're just calm, cool, and collected and couldn't understand it. It's not your intellectual mind at work there. It is your divine mind at work there. Pay attention to the synchronicities. They are there. I'm going to say it again. Pay attention to the synchronicities. They are there. A number, a word that somebody mentions in a conversation that is exactly what you prayed or exactly what you meditated on. Or something that comes across in a video. The other day, I was discussing with my loved one, and we were talking, and I was trying to make a decision about something that I should do. And I'm on a numerology, email list, because I like to explore, learn, expand my knowledge, and see how these things work in terms of concert with the creator, spiritual constructs, physical constructs, mental constructs. I'm just trying to understand stuff. And the message I got from the email, based on my date and the day it was spot on to what I was just discussing with this beautiful soul on the other end of the phone. I was just discussing that with her. And while we were talking, I just thought I'd check my email, and bam, there the message was. Another confirmation. I had numerous synchronicities during that phone call, but that was a powerful one that came from somebody that don't know me personally. Hear what I'm saying today, down to the T, down to the letter. Take note of that. Don't brush that off with that. Is that really yes, it's a sign, family. Yes, it's evidence. Last but not least, I quote again from the great mystic Neville Goddard, who says, an assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. Your identity, hear me, because when we start taking on this identity, for example, the book says, let the weak say I'm strong. Well, a person who has lived with a definition of weakness, whether it's physical frailness or mental weakness or financial weakness all their lives, in order for you to become strong, you have to take on the identity of one that's strong, which means you have to say, I am strong. And then you have to start conducting yourself like I am strong. When you're planning something and your finances don't look the way you want them to look in the moment, you don't plan. I know I'm getting ready to say something that might sound out of the way. I'm analytical and practical. I believe in budgets and living in budgets, but there are many times as I'm growing and expanding into the manifestation of my own overflow, that the spirit keeps guiding and directing me and saying, that's not all you got to deal with. What do you desire? So if the money is not there now, that doesn't mean it's not going to be there in 5 days. But the only way it can be there in 5 days is when I look at the money and say circumstances don't matter. And I start within my imagination, creating a scene where I have everything I want and desire in this situation. Did you catch that? I get to, through microvisions, change it. I get to change it. Did you catch what I just said? And then there's going to be confirmations along the way to show me that, yes, you can change it. And yes, you're supposed to change it. And the only thing I need to do is just stay in alignment with that. My goodness. All right. I'm done for tonight. Let me shut it down. I think that's all I need to say. I've gone over time. Did you get anything out of the teaching today? Did you get anything out of the teaching today? Talk to me. Did you get anything out of the teaching today? Talk to me, family. Did I make it make sense? Come on, appreciate your transparency. Linda Nelson, Ariel Linda Nelson is on Patreon and she says, great life changing message. Thank you. Linda. Great life changing message. And thank you so much, Monica, again, for your transparency. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Listen, appreciate that. To our physical therapist, we appreciate it. Come on, let's give tonight, unless you are led to give more or less. We're going to do an 888 tonight. 888. And I want some of these people who've been speaking the isn't it wonderful phrase, prepare yourself. I know I talked to a couple of people about coming on with me. I'll mention it again. I need some of y'all to come on. Give your testimony. Again, money and jobs have manifested since I asked people to start saying isn't it wonderful. I mentioned that at the earlier or at the onset of the broadcast, the portion of the broadcast. And I'm going to bring a couple of you all on to give your testimonies. Now, just saying that has generated wonderful things to supply your needs. Thank you so much, Brenda. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. And for those who watching replay, whether on Patreon or YouTube, comment like this. I love to come back and see your comments, even when it's in free. $ AG Green, $ AG Enterprises, however you want to use to give your 888 tonight is just a donation. It helps me to continue to advance the cause of highlighting and emphasizing the gospel consciousness. It gives me the ability to expand the platform so that I can feed more and more and more of this good stuff within our community. Who've been reading the blogs real quickly, who's taking their Patreon every day, or weekly, I should say. Anyway, you don't have to check it every day, but weekly. Who's checking it consistently every week? There's a new blog that was released yesterday. And of course, there are new posts that come up every day. I think it's part 3 on the power of consistency later on this week. And also, I want you to understand, know that the latest podcast should drop sometime tomorrow. But who's been keeping up with Patreon? Who's been keeping up with Patreon real quickly? Let me see what you got to say in the comment section. Who's been keeping up with Patreon? And then I'm going to release you. Don't forget, if you have not joined in the paid tiers, REV50 will give you 50% off first. Use it as a discount code. The latest blog article came up yesterday. There's some great, great, great stuff in there. Another article should be released Thursday. There's so much stuff. Yes, Brenda checks them often. I can confirm because I get notifications and see what she comments. Anybody else? Anybody else? I just want you to identify yourself. Make it a part of your daily and definitely your weekly routine. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We are what kind of community? What kind of community did I say we were? I said we are what kind of community? We read, we what? We are what? We are what? This is a community that reads, that has an an interest in both spiritual, mental, and ultimately a growth mindset. That's who we are. So that's why I flood you with articles. You're going to have more and more video content coming in the next weeks to come, more refined and strategically delivered content than even what you see now. You make the decision. Thank you for supporting us, supporting this platform. Thank you again for supporting our spiritual community. I want you to know that I thoroughly appreciate everybody who watches the broadcast, who comments, and who takes to heart the messages that are taught today. I release you with the shalom blessing. Shalom, shalom, peace, wholeness, and prosperity. Nothing missing and nothing broken. See many of you in a couple of days. Love you. Enjoy your